Man, let me tell you something. When I first heard that the U.S. has approved the MiG-21 killer for Pakistan, I had to sit down for a second, because that right there, that ain't just another military deal. That's a statement. That's a whole message wrapped in steel, speed, and power. Now, some people hear that and think, oh, it's just defense cooperation. Nah, this is about strategy, reputation, and positioning on the world stage. See, every country out here is playing chess, not checkers. You think these folks just sell jets for the money? No, sir. Every jet, every missile, every handshake has a purpose. When the U.S. makes a move like this, it's telling the world we're still the ones calling the plays. It's reminding everyone that power ain't just about having the biggest army. It's about who gets to decide who gets the biggest army. And let's talk about this MiG-21 killer. This name alone tells a story. That aircraft isn't just metal and machinery, it's history rewritten in the sky. It's the symbol of how technology can shift the balance. You give that kind of weapon to a country and suddenly the whole region pays attention. Because when you upgrade one player, you automatically challenge the others. Now, don't get it twisted. Pakistan didn't just get lucky. They've been positioning, negotiating, aligning themselves carefully. They understand the value of being seen as useful, as strategic. They know when to step forward and when to stay quiet. And trust me, that's a skill a lot of nations don't have. But the bigger story here isn't about fighter jets or military contracts. It's about trust. Because you don't hand out something like that unless you trust the person holding it. The U.S. knows exactly what it's doing. It's balancing power, managing influence, keeping doors open that others are trying to close. And in that game, Pakistan just moved up a few levels. This is the kind of move that changes conversations behind closed doors. It makes allies rethink their loyalty, makes rivals recheck their strategy, and makes everyone else wonder, what's coming next? Because once the game starts shifting, it don't stop there. One approval leads to another deal. One handshake leads to another alliance. And before you know it, the board looks completely different. And let's be real, this ain't just about planes flying in the sky. It's about nations rising, old powers testing new ones, and the world realizing that the balance of power isn't permanent, it moves. It adapts. It changes with every decision like this. When the United States approves something like the MiG-21 killer for Pakistan, it's not just signing a piece of paper or completing a transaction. It's shifting the entire tone of global conversation. A move like that has weight because it comes from the top of the defense hierarchy. It's a power statement disguised as a partnership. You have to understand that in international politics, nothing happens by accident. Every approval, every handshake, every signature carries intention. When the U.S. greenlights a jet known for its dominance and precision, it's sending a clear signal to allies and adversaries alike. The balance of influence is being managed, and Washington still holds the remote control. The phrase, strategic power move, fits perfectly here because this isn't about who owns what. It's about who decides who gets to own what. It's control wrapped in diplomacy, and that's how big powers maintain their edge without ever needing to fire a single shot. Behind the scenes, there's always a deeper play. The U.S. knows exactly what happens when it places advanced weaponry in certain hands. It's not a gift, it's leverage. It builds relationships, secures loyalties, and shapes the behavior of nations that want to stay in its good books. By proving something with as much symbolic and tactical significance as the MiG-21 killer, the U.S. positions itself as the ultimate gatekeeper. It shows that it can elevate a nation's defense capability while simultaneously reminding the rest of the world who still runs the global military marketplace. This kind of approval doesn't just empower Pakistan. It reinforces America's own dominance by deciding when and how that empowerment happens. It also sends ripples across the region. Other nations start to question their own standing. They wonder why they weren't chosen, why that level of trust wasn't extended to them. It fuels competition, tension, and ambition, all tools that the U.S. uses to maintain influence without direct conflict. It's a move that blends military strategy with political theater, calculated to shift narratives and keep everyone guessing. When a global superpower makes a strategic move like this, it's not about the plane itself, but about the message flying with it, a message that says control is power and permission is the ultimate weapon in modern diplomacy. When nations exchange military technology, it's never just about the machinery or the deal written on paper. It's about power, alignment, and trust. The transfer of advanced defense technology is one of the strongest indicators of where real alliances stand. When the United States chooses to approve a high-profile jet for another country, it's not simply showing generosity. It's declaring confidence in that country's political reliability and strategic usefulness. Military technology is a form of controlled power. It carries not only destructive capability, but also symbolic meaning, shaping how the world interprets relationships between nations. When the U.S. allows a partner like Pakistan access to a weapon system known for its prestige and combat effectiveness, it's communicating that this is a nation it's willing to equip, empower, and rely on in future strategic equations. Such transfers are part of long-term geopolitical intent. A country doesn't get approval for cutting-edge aircraft overnight. It happens through years of negotiation, alignment, and proving value to the bigger power. The U.S. uses these deals as chess pieces, placing technology in regions where it wants influence to grow and competitors to tread carefully. Every jet, missile, or radar shared carries invisible strings attached. It's not a simple trade, it's a relationship that must be managed, monitored, and reinforced. The more advanced the technology, the tighter the leash of trust becomes. America knows that every bolt of metal represents a data point, a signal, a promise that this technology won't end up in the wrong hands or be used in ways that counter its global interests. This kind of cooperation also helps shape perceptions. To the world, it looks like friendship. To policymakers, it's a contract of control. It reminds everyone that military technology isn't just a tool for defense, it's a tool for diplomacy. By sharing it selectively, a nation like the U.S. defines who's in its circle and who's left outside. Technology becomes an extension of soft power, influencing decisions, votes, and loyalties far beyond the battlefield. It's a quiet but powerful way of reminding the world that trust in the geopolitical arena isn't spoken. It's engineered, tested, and traded in the form of metal wings and digital systems that fly under the flag of strategy, not sentiment. The MiG-21 killer isn't just an aircraft. It's a statement of evolution in modern warfare and a clear signal of how military modernization reshapes regional dynamics. Its very name carries the weight of history, symbolizing the end of an era dominated by older Soviet-era jets and the beginning of a new phase defined by precision, agility, and advanced technology. When such a platform is introduced in the hands of a nation like Pakistan, it does more than strengthen air power. It alters perceptions of balance, capability, and deterrence across the region. Every country that borders or competes with Pakistan immediately recalculates its own strategy because one advanced weapon can shift years of military planning. The MiG-21 killer represents not just superior technology, but also the psychological advantage that comes with it. A symbol that Pakistan is moving beyond its traditional defense limitations and stepping into a more modern, sophisticated military posture. This level of modernization is not merely about upgrading aircraft, it's about upgrading influence. Advanced fighter jets become the flagships of progress, projecting an image of readiness and strength that resonates far beyond the battlefield. When a nation displays such capability, it earns respect and at times cautious attention. Regional rivals begin to think twice before testing boundaries, and allies start viewing that nation as a more reliable, capable partner in defense cooperation. The ripple effect extends to diplomatic tables, where confidence often grows in parallel with military competence. The MiG-21 killer thus becomes both a tool of defense and a currency of reputation, elevating Pakistan's status in conversations about security and deterrence. The modernization it symbolizes also speaks to the rapid evolution of global defense ecosystem. Nations that once relied on outdated fleets are now demanding precision technology, and suppliers like the U.S. recognize that meeting this demand gives them leverage. By supplying such aircraft, America reinforces its influence while guiding how modern warfare will look in specific regions. Every upgraded jet is a calculated move to reshape alliances, modernize partners, and maintain control over the technological tempo of warfare. The MiG-21 killer is a reminder that in today's geopolitical environment, modernization isn't just a choice, it's a necessity. And whoever controls the flow of that modernization controls the direction of regional power. Pakistan's ability to secure approval for the MiG-21 killer didn't happen by accident. It's the result of years of calculated positioning, diplomacy, and timing. In international politics, opportunities like this don't fall into your lap. You earn them through strategic alignment by proving that you're valuable to the bigger players. Pakistan has been mastering that balance for decades, maintaining relationships with both the East and the West, knowing when to lean closer to one and when to step back. That's a difficult game to play, especially in a world where every alliance is scrutinized, every move analyzed, and every military deal carries political meaning. What Pakistan has done here is demonstrate that it still has the diplomatic weight and strategic relevance to attract the attention and trust of the United States, something not every country in the region can claim. This level of cooperation speaks to a deeper kind of understanding between the two nations. Pakistan has managed to position itself as a key regional player, not by overwhelming power, but by making itself indispensable. Whether in counterterrorism operations, intelligence coordination, or regional stability discussions, it consistently finds a way to stay relevant. That relevance creates leverage, and leverage opens doors that others can't even knock on. The MiG-21 killer deal is a reflection of that leverage, a quiet recognition that Pakistan remains a necessary part of the strategic puzzle in South Asia. When a nation earns that level of recognition, it gains more than technology. It gains influence in how future decisions are made around it. What's remarkable is how Pakistan manages to walk that fine line without losing its autonomy. It has learned how to extract value from relationships without becoming dependent. That's a sign of maturity in statecraft. It's about understanding when to speak and when to stay silent, when to take risks and when to play safe. The approval of this fighter jet shows that Pakistan's long game is working, that its combination of military importance and political restraint is paying off. It's proof that in geopolitics, survival isn't about being the biggest or the loudest. It's about being the most adaptable, the one who can read the room, build the right alliances, and turn timing into opportunity. When a move like this happens, where one nation gains access to advanced technology from a superpower, it immediately reshapes the landscape of alliances and rivalries. Every country that watches this deal unfold begins to reevaluate its position, its friendships, and its risks. A single defense partnership can shift years of diplomatic equilibrium, creating new alignments and unsettling old ones. For regional players, this kind of development is more than just a matter of hardware. It's a signal about who's in favor and who's falling behind. Allies start adjusting their tone, rivals start questioning their next step, and neutral parties begin looking for ways to align themselves with whoever seems to be holding the upper hand. The approval of the MiG-21 killer to Pakistan sends ripples far beyond the military realm. It alters the psychological map of influence that defines modern geopolitics. This shift is not just visible in political circles, but in defense doctrines too. Nations start recalculating their air capabilities, reviewing their procurement strategies, and analyzing how this new equation affects their deterrence posture. Every strategic analyst knows that the moment one country upgrades, others must follow or they risk falling behind. This creates a cycle of competition that extends from weaponry to diplomacy, from trade relations to security alignments. Countries that were once content with the status quo begin to feel the urgency of modernization. The U.S., by approving this deal, understands that it's not just empowering Pakistan, it's stirring a larger game that keeps everyone alert and active at the same time. This kind of approval changes the tone of dialogue between nations. Suddenly, military cooperation becomes a more significant talking point in regional forums. Countries that might have overlooked Pakistan in past negotiations now pay attention, realizing it's being backed by a superpower. It adds weight to Pakistan's voice, making its opinions carry more significance in international discussions. But with new respect comes new scrutiny as rival nations interpret this partnership through their own strategic lenses. In this way, the approval acts as both a boost and a test. It elevates Pakistan's status, but also challenges it to manage that attention wisely. The world of power politics thrives on such moments where a single decision can redraw lines and redefine how influence circulates among nations. In today's geopolitical landscape, true power isn't always measured by how much military strength a nation possesses, but by who controls the flow of that strength. The world has evolved past the days when owning the most weapons defined dominance. Now, influence lies in deciding who gets access to them. Permission has become the new currency of control. The ability to authorize or deny the transfer of cutting-edge technology gives certain nations immense leverage over others. When the United States decides to approve something as advanced as the MiG-21 killer for Pakistan, it isn't just sharing hardware, it's reaffirming its position as the gatekeeper of global military progress. The message is clear: real power is not in possession, but in permission. It's the ability to regulate the pace of modernization for others. Deciding who steps forward and who stays behind this system of permission allows major powers to maintain control without direct confrontation. By determining which countries can access advanced defense equipment, they create a hierarchy of influence. Nations that receive these approvals feel both empowered and indebted, knowing that their strength is tied to someone else's decision. It's a strategic dependency that blends cooperation with subtle control. The U.S., through moves like this, doesn't just build alliances, it builds influence that lasts for decades. Each approval becomes a thread in a larger network of relationships that reinforces its global reach. The nations granted this kind of trust find themselves operating within a carefully designed circle. Where access equals alignment, what makes this concept even more powerful is how invisible it is. Most people see a military deal and focus on the aircraft or weapons involved, but behind it lies a system of permissions that quietly dictates the global order. Every approval comes with expectations, monitoring, and conditions that shape how the recipient operates. It ensures that even as others rise, the one giving permission remains indispensable. That's why possession, though impressive, can never equal the control that comes with authorization. It's the same logic that drives economic sanctions, technology bans, and export restrictions, all tools that remind the world that power today isn't about who has the most, but who decides when and where others get to have it, turning permission itself into the most valuable form of dominance